One of the best parts about a smart home is being able to create different automations. This is where different devices can adjust other devices in your home and they can all automatically work together. Well, previously with Google Home and the Google Home app, you could only create an automation by going into the Google Home app, tapping on the automation down here, and choosing the add button here and going through the different automation available in the Google Home app. Now that's pretty good, but Google has released a new way to create more advanced automations that are not found in the Google Home app, and that is through the Google Home script editor. Now to have access to the editor, you need to be a part of the Google Home public preview. So to do that, you're going to head to the settings in the Google Home app, and then you're going to scroll down to the very bottom, and here you will see public preview, and then you need to join the public preview. Once you are part of the public preview, you will be able to see the script editor on your computer. Now we're going to head to home.google.com. And here you will see, if you haven't been here, you now have the option to view your cameras here on this feed. You can turn cameras on and off, which is pretty cool. So that's one thing you can do. But then over here on the left side, you have automations. So if I tap on automations, you can see all the automations that I have here in my home. So you have the household routines, and then you have personal routines. When you create a script editor automation, it will go into your household routines so everyone in the home will be able to see those routines. Now here are the ones with the voice icons and the home icon. Those are things that can be done within the Google Home app. But here we have the arrow left and right. There might be a more technical term for those, but those are the ones I have created through the script editor. Now the script editor is using YAML code, and I have zero code experience other than the HTML website I made when I was in like the 7th grade or something like that. So there is some really great help guides on how to create these automations if you've never done it before. But let me go ahead and show you the basics, and then we'll go to a little more advanced stuff. And then I'd love to hear more about what you are using this for. So down here at the bottom, we have add new. So let's go ahead and select add new in the bottom right. When you go in here, it's going to have this gray text with these hashtags that aren't part of the code, but they're just instructions on how to use the actual script editor. So the first thing you could do is name the automation. So here under untitled, we're going to name this light changes shades, or you could do whatever you want. So for this, we're going to press the office light and it's going to adjust the shades. Sure, why not? Okay, then we have the different automations. So for the automations, you have different starters, you have different conditions, and you have different actions. So for the starters, what is going to trigger the automation? So here under the blue text, you could type out what the starter is going to be, but I found that causes problems. So all we're going to do is choose what the starter is going to be. And you can see as soon as I tap on type, it's going to auto-populate with options that we have for the starter. So here we could choose a Google command. You then have different camera events. So here we have animal cat detection. Here you have doorbell press, motion detection, moving vehicle detection, sound, app selector, brightness, channel, dock, just tons of different starter automations that you can choose that were not anywhere to be found in the Google Home app. Now, over time, we might be able to see Google add some of these into the Google Home app, but right now it's much easier for them to add it into the script editor, and then we have access to it instantly. So I think it's a great option to go and learn how to use this script editor. So for this, let's go down here and we're going to choose the on-off starter. Once we choose the type, it's then going to populate more options for that type of starter. So then it's saying, okay, do you want this to be false or true? So we want it to be true. So when the light switch is pressed, then something's going to happen. And then here under device, it's automatically going to populate what devices are compatible with this trigger. So here we have Batcave light switch. That's the light switch that I have here in my office. So there you go. We have the starter done. Now, again, all this gray text, if we don't want it as part of our routine, we can just simply delete it. But it might be useful to have there so you know what you need to put. Next, you have conditions. So maybe we want to create a condition where something needs to happen as well to create this routine. So we could have this needs to be a certain time of day before it runs that routine, or so on. There's really lots of options here. And this is the part where it's like, I don't know exactly what can be done. So hopefully some of you comment with your favorite different conditions to use or how this can be really advanced. And you can also head to the Google developer website to learn more. I'll share that in just a bit. So here under conditions, we have all kinds of options. Again, we have the brightness, the color settings, the docking your tablet, we have energy storage, lighting effects, on, off, open, close, sensor state, all kinds of different options, and even a not or a time between. So here we could choose a time between when we want to have that done, but right now I'm not going to do that. So we're just going to undo that and pretend conditions aren't there for now. I'm just going to delete this just so you can see how easy it is to edit. Then last we have actions. So when I press the light switch, what is the action going to be? Here we're going to tap on type, and then we're going to choose the actions. So let's go ahead and say that something is going to open or close. So I'm going to scroll all the way down here. You can just see how many options there are. I want to go through each one of these and find out everything that they can do, but that's going to take some time. So we're going to choose open and close there. And then here it's giving us an option to choose the percent. So what is the shade going to go to? So it's going to go to 50%. And then I'm going to choose the shade. So here it's showing all the options of things I could choose in my home, but I'm going to choose the living room bottom left shade. So there we have finished creating our script. Now, I don't really know if this is going to work. So there's one way to verify that, and that is by choosing validate down here at the bottom. So if we select validate, it's going to run through and make sure it can be run. And there at the bottom, we saw that there are no issues found. Hey, that's pretty cool. So let's go ahead and try out this routine. So I'm just going to tap save. And once I tap save, it's automatically going to activate the routine. So if you don't want this currently activated, you can turn it off, but it is ready to go. So let's jump over to the light switch, turn it on, and see what happens. And there you can see that as soon as I press the light switch, it then adjusted the shade percentage to be closed 50%. And that worked pretty great. I can't believe that actually worked. Now with this automation, I'm actually not going to be using it. So up here at the top right, I do have the option to delete the routine. And then that will not appear here. So now let's go ahead and look at doing some more advanced automations. So for the first automation, we're going to start here in the kitchen. I have a few different lights set up on smart light switches, but I want them to operate better together. So the first one I have here is the under cabinet lights. So if I turn those on, you can see it turns on the lights there, but the light switch for that is all the way over there. Now the second light is the hood light here that I have with a Shelly smart relay switch. And so to turn this on, you can come over here and turn those on. But I want to have these operate together. So whenever I turn on the light switch for the under cabinet lighting, I want it to automatically turn on the hood light. So we're going to synchronize those, and that can be done all within the script editor. Let me show you how to do that. So let's create the automation. We're going to tap add new. Now to create this automation, I really don't know where to begin. The good news is right here on the right side when you start a new routine is there is some documentation on how you can do different things. So all I'm going to do is tap see documentation here, and it's going to tell us some different info, but I'm going to click visit code lab. And then I am going to go to example script automations. This has a bunch of different examples that you can use and incorporate them into your different script. So here we have control a light with a switch. Then we have schedule lights and blinds, control camera based on household presence. So lots of different automations that you can use here, but we're going to scroll down and find the one that says synchronizing two lights. Perfect. Now here it has all the different code, but all we need to do is tap the copy code sample right here at the top. That has now been copied. I'm going to go over into my code. I'm going to select all, delete, and paste the code. Perfect. Easy as that. Okay, we still have a bit of work to do. So here we're going to synchronize, and I'm going to give this a better name. There you go. So if one light is turned on, turn on the other. If one light's turned off, then turn off the other. So here it already has the different starter automations. So a device state on off. Perfect. But our light is not light A office or light B living room, light B, living room. So that's the first command, and we need to change those. So light A needs to be changed to under cabinet kitchen. And then B is going to be hood light in the kitchen. And again, B, hood light in the kitchen. Now, the best way I found to do this is just double check patterns to make sure everything is working. So we have A, B, B. So we're going to do the same thing for the second starter. Okay, so now we have our first command, which when the under cabinet light is turned on, it's then going to turn on the hood light. And then again, we're going to have when the under cabinet light is turned off, it's then going to turn off the hood light. And so there's also a condition in here that helps this. And then down here, if we go more, now it's going to do it from the other end. So if the hood light is turned off, then it's going to turn off the under cabinet lighting. So now let's adjust that, starting with the hood light. And it's really nice that everything auto-populates, so I know I'm choosing the right one. And then here we have one more where if we turn off the hood light, then it's going to turn off the other lights as well. Now that we have adjusted all those, we're then going to validate and make sure everything is working properly. And there you can see it found 8 errors. Okay, so it's giving us these little red buttons saying there is an error. Now I purposely chose the wrong light here just to see what would happen. So let's change it back to the right one. Okay, let's go ahead and validate again, see if it fixed that. Still 8 errors. So I think is what's happened here is the code that they have as an example has slightly changed. And so we need to fix what has changed here. So here under type, it's saying that we need to use devices instead of device. So all I need to do is type devices, and then that should work. Let's try this. We're going to type devices. So all I need to do is add an S and validate. Let's see what happens. And there you go. That fixed all the errors. So it may just be the code that they have, something was wrong, but it kind of gives you hints on how to fix the code. So now that that is working without errors, we're going to save that. It's then going to activate it, and we can go and test that out. So when I turn on the light switch here to turn on the under cabinet lights, it should then turn on the hood light. And nothing, but there it goes. So there is a little bit of delay sometimes when you do this. So it's good that did work. Let's go ahead, turn off the light and see what happens. And it never turns off the hood light. So I've actually spent a whole day trying to figure out how to get this to work better, and I could not get it to work. So I'm actually surprised it even worked here. I was using this in my office and it worked perfectly. I could turn on the light switch and another light strip would turn on, turn off the light strip, and the light would turn off. Let's go to the hood light and see if adjusting that does anything. So if we change this right here, those are already off. Let's try turning it back on. And nothing happens. So there are definitely some issues here, and this is why it's nice that they have the send feedback button right there on the right side so that you can easily send some feedback if certain things aren't happening. One of the other things I've sent feedback for is my SmartThings motion sensors are only showing as temperature sensors, so hopefully some of those things can be improved over time, but Google has to work with third-party services to be able to get all those things to work. There's also a ton of different settings with this relay switch that I'm using. I've tried to change a bunch of things and I just couldn't get it to operate. So looks like we're gonna have to try another solution to getting these to turn on at the same time. I wanna make this a little more advanced, and that's by using my Aqara FP2 motion or presence sensor. So what I want to have happen is when we walk into the cooking area here, I want it to automatically turn on these under cabinet lighting and the hood lighting. Now for this, we're going to be using the motion triggered lights. So when motion happens in that area, it's then going to turn off the under cabinet lighting, which is going to turn off the hood light. So it's going to run that kind of routine that we've already set up. So here in the developer center, I found motion triggered lights. We're going to copy that code and paste the code. I love how quick and easy that is. And we're going to name this cooking area lights. Okay, so when motion is detected, turn on the lights, then turn them off after 5 minutes, and we could adjust that to whatever time that we want to use. So here our first starter is device state motion detection. So when motion is detected and the device that's going to be used for that, we need to change, and we're going to choose cooking area, and right there is the trigger cooking area. And then here it says state, which is motion detection event in progress. See, I would have had no idea what to choose, so it's so nice that is there. And then you have true, so meaning when there is motion in this area, it's then going to turn on the lights. And then here we have our actions, which is device command on off. And then we're going to choose the light that it's going to turn on or off. And we're going to change this to under cabinet lighting and true. Then we have the starters. So we have device state motion detection. And again, we're going to choose what that device is going to be, which is the cooking area. Again, this is using my FP2 sensor. So there's like all kinds of different areas I could choose from. And then here we have the time. So it's 5 minutes. We could change that to 10 minutes. Yeah, you can even do down to seconds if you want to, which is really nice. So let's keep this at 5 minutes for now. And then last, we're going to choose the light again that we want to have this interact with. So we're going to choose under cabinet kitchen there. So then after 5 minutes, going to turn off the kitchen under cabinet lighting. Okay, that's it. That's the automation. Let's go ahead and validate. No errors. So we're going to save that. All right, let's test out this next automation. So as soon as I walk into this area, the light should turn on because of the motion sensor right there. That worked great. But now I want to adjust this one a little bit so that it automatically turns on the hood lights. Let me show you how to do that. So here I'm just going to head into the Google Home app here on the Pixel tablet, and there you can see my automations, and this is the cooking area lights. Now, one of the things I've been trying to figure out is how I can adjust multiple devices from one starter in the routine, and it's actually pretty simple. So all I need to do is go under the devices section here, and I'm going to go to the next, we got to tap edit first. I'm going to go to the next line, do a hyphen, and then here it's asking what I want to have adjusted. So there I'm just going to put hood light and kitchen. So it already put that there. And then I'm going to go down to the bottom here where it's going to turn them off after 5 minutes. And so we're going to do the same thing, add a new line, put the dash there, and hood light. Okay, now one thing I also want to change is I'm going to change it from 5 minutes to 30 seconds just so we can see it actually function. So 30 seconds, you can even go hours and so on. Okay, so there is the new automation. When motion is detected, it's going to then turn on the under cabinet lights and the hood light. And then after motion is not detected for 30 seconds, it's then going to turn off the cabinet and hood light, okay? Make sure it's activated down there, hit save. And now let's turn this off. I'm gonna walk through again to see what happens. And so when I enter into the cooking area, it automatically now turns on the under cabinet lights as well as the hood light. So I think that did solve the problem. And when I leave and there's no detection for 30 seconds, it will then turn off the lights. Now for the third automation, we're going to be using a Google Nest camera. Here we have the Google Nest doorbell wired, and you can now use different types of notification to trigger different events. So maybe a package was detected, or a familiar face or an unfamiliar face was detected. You can have certain things interact with that type of detection. So here we're going to have it when this detects anybody at night, it's automatically going to turn on the light above here so that then it brightens up the porch here, and then we can see a little bit better on the camera what's going on, and they know that we're home or something like that. Now for this third routine, I'm again going to find a already set up script and then modify it a little bit because there's not the exact script I want. So here under the Developer Center, we have doorbell light alert and paste. Okay, so here we're gonna have doorbell motion turn on light. So when somebody arrives at the door, it turns on the light. So the starter, instead of doorbell press, is going to be, now I don't know why sometimes it will not populate. It's a little frustrating. So the type of event is going to be device event person detection, and the device is going to be the front porch doorbell. So let's see if we can get it to populate. There we go, front porch doorbell. Okay, now right now I'm not going to include a condition, but I definitely need to add some. I'll just have to do a little bit more work to figure out exactly how that works. Then for the action here, we're going to have device command on off, and this device is going to be porch light. And above devices, we're going to put on, and if that is true. So when a person is detected at the door, then turn on the front porch light. Okay, that's great. But I want to have it so it automatically turns off after a certain amount of time. So all we need to do is add a new type of action. So I'm just going to go down here, add type, and then I'm going to add a time delay. So time.delay. Now, maybe I'm doing this wrong. Again, I don't know, but we're going to do time delay for 10 minutes. And then for that, we're then going to add, after the time delay, we're going to add another type. And we're going to add the device.command.on/off. And then we're going to choose devices, which is the front porch light. Sometimes I have to copy and paste, sometimes it auto-populates, but we're just going to go with what works. And then that is going to be on and false. Okay, so that is so far what I have. The motion is detected, then it's going to turn on the porch light, and then it's going to turn on a time delay, and after that 10-minute time delay, it's then going to turn off the porch light. Okay, that's great. So let's go ahead, validate it. And there we go, no errors. So now let's go ahead and test this out. But some of the things I'd like to add to this is I do want to add a condition. If the porch light is already on, I don't want this to run because I don't want it turning off in the middle of the schedule that it's already set up. And then I also don't want this running during the day. So I need to add a condition that doesn't turn this on when the light's already on, and then a condition that makes it so it only starts at sunset until sunrise. But I'm not going to take the time to figure that out. If you do have details on that, please let me know down in the comments below. But let's go ahead and test this out. All right, so here I come up to the door. The doorbell then recognizes me and the light turns on. And then when I leave, the light will turn off. And there you go, that was able to fully work. So it's so great that we now have this script editor where you can create these more advanced automations. Now, if you're a beginner like me, it might take some time to get these to work, but it's great that Google does have some resources. Now, some tips that worked for me in creating these is to just work on one little thing at a time. So if something isn't working properly, go back into the just basics. Maybe it's just turning on that first light. Okay, once you get that working, then go and try and add the time. And I would shorten the time, see if that worked, and then I could lengthen the time. And there was a lot of trial and error and just looking what other users had done on the Google developers page, which was really helpful. Now, I know there are a ton of you out there that have created some really awesome scripts, and I would love to see that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave a form that you can fill out down in the description below where you can submit what script you have created. If you wanted to post a video of that script operating, that would be awesome. And then maybe we'll make a little page on different scripts that you have created so that others can use those scripts, and I'll do a video featuring what you have made so that we can really see what this Google Home script editor is capable of. So if you have any further questions, please let me know down in the comments below, and if you can help out with any of those questions as well, that would be great. And if you would like to see any more details on this script editor, let me know, and maybe I can do some follow-ups on how this is progressing over time. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.